Welcome to College Recruiter, where we believe that every student and recent college grad deserves a great career. I'm Anna Peters, Content Manager with College Recruiter, and I am with Alexandra Levit, who is an all things expert related to workplace. So consultant, advisor, author, all things workplace. So thank you for joining us today, Alex.
Thanks for having me, Anna. It's always great to be back with College Recruiter.
So today, Alex is going to join us and tell us about Devry University's Career Advisory Board's recent survey about the growing gap in tech skills, both applied skills and hard tech skills. And we've already had one conversation about what that gap looks like and some of the tools in a recruiter's toolbox to be able to fill those tech positions and to find those applied tech skills. And I also wanted to ask you, Alex, about some of the other points in the survey. Specifically, it touches on design thinking, which I think is an important concept for talent acquisition professionals to understand. Can you first explain what design thinking is?
Sure.
And we can go from there.
Design thinking came into play because it was one of the recommendations that we gave hiring managers and employers for closing the technology skills gap. In other words, we want people to be more creative about it. And specifically, design thinking is a strategy for innovation. It uses creative processes to integrate the needs of people, the possibilities of technology, and the requirements for business success. And it's a way of approaching business problems that allows for a greater infusion of creativity. But I wouldn't say it's a widely understood concept at the moment, which means that the bulk of recruiters don't have any idea what it is. And so what I recommend for recruiters first and foremost is to educate themselves about what it is and their organizations for promoting it in the workplace. So be the evangelist behind this way of doing things. I think you'll find most people are receptive to innovation strategies, but don't know even how to start. And so design thinking is a good model for doing that. And in terms of attracting candidates who are able to leverage an approach like design thinking, a good idea generally is to test and probe for traits like creativity, innovation. Creativity, innovation could be a hybrid of those two traits. And if they have shown that they have used these traits in the past, that they have done things in previous organizations to show that they are willing to upend the status quo and try different ways of approaching old problems, then they are probably the type of person who would be amenable to design thinking. So it's not necessarily that your candidates have to know what design thinking is or have used it before, because like I said, it's a relatively new concept, but I think by ensuring that they are creative, innovative, outside the box type of people, they're the people who you will need in your organization to make this a more pervasive concept.
And I think there are some colleges and universities out there who are grasping design thinking and turning it into maybe a discipline even, or at least having their students do projects around design thinking.
Yep, you're right.
So tell us a little bit about why, especially for recruiters who know that they need candidates with applied technology skills. They need their employees to use technology either to innovate or to help solve business problems. Why is creativity something that they should put onto their their skills criteria?
Right. Well, in addition to the fact that creativity and innovation play really nicely with filling the applied tech skills gap, which, just to recap, is the applied tech skills refer to leveraging technology to solve business problems, and it's integrating people, processes, data, and devices for the best business outcome. In addition to that, I would say that creativity is one of those skills that is becoming so important that we're actually seeing STEM, which refers to science, technology, engineering, and math. We're seeing the A put into there, so it's STEAM, with arts being in the middle. And the reason that we're seeing this is because I think people see the writing on the wall, that a lot of jobs, even knowledge work jobs, are going to be automated come mid-century. And so where the unique human advantage lies is the ability to anticipate unanticipated outcomes, confusing things that might happen when you get a set of data that doesn't make sense, for example, or predicting when a massive crisis occurs, how human beings are going to react. I mean, these are the type of things that rely on creativity. Creating games, using technology to create games or simulations that will help people discover and understand how to operate in a disruptive real world scenario. I think this requires creativity because a machine isn't going to be able to figure out what the answer should be if it's not obvious. And I think, therefore, having creativity is one of those very, very special human traits that is going to be very difficult to automate, even as machines become smarter and smarter.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, I think it's really important for employers to look for people who have it, because it's going to be one of those things that sets us apart come 2030, 2040.
So a takeaway that recruiters should really remember is, as they recruit, or as they filter candidates by their major and the schools that they decide to recruit at, if they look at their list and they only see chemistry and physics and bio and all of the STEM majors, engineering, math, they should remember STEAM is important. So creativity and art, those students with those skills could be trained in the tech skills, but could bring the creativity skills that perhaps your engineering majors don't generally have. So.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Anna, because just because you know how to use a program to develop databases, that doesn't necessarily mean a machine isn't going to be able to take that over in the next 10 years. And then what are you going to do? And that's the reason I think in a lot of STEM programs, they are incorporating the arts, because they recognize knowing the technology isn't enough anymore. That's not going to be enough of a differentiator for human beings, because machines are going to be able to do it faster and more accurately. So what value are you really going to bring? And that's that solving of unanticipated consequences and business problems that come up that you might not have been able to foresee. And that's the creativity.
Yep. We live in new times.
We do.
Anything else, other big takeaways that you think people should know from the survey?
I would just say the only other thing that I would add is not to put too much of an emphasis on hard tech skills outside of information technology. So if you are recruiting for, I think that most people will agree that things like information security and database development are important, but you don't want to mix those up with applied tech skills. In other words, know the difference between the two. Applied tech skills means just having a general understanding of how to use technology to solve business problems. It doesn't mean that you're actually the one implementing the technology on an everyday basis. That would be more of a hard tech skill in certain situations. So just make sure that internally in your organization, you understand the difference. Talk with your CIO or your IT department about what skills they need, what do they think they can bring to the table, and what skills would they really like to see people in different lines of business have from a technology perspective. And have a conversation, a dialogue about it, because it will depend on the culture of the organization in terms of what the specific needs are. And so I think it's easy to get a little bit muddied between the two, and you just want to make sure that you've defined them appropriately and that you're not having unrealistic expectations of your hires.
Great. Good message. Thank you again for joining us, Alex. Great to see you.
You're welcome. It's always my pleasure.
And we will check in with Alex again very soon in the future, as she's part of College Recruiters' panel of experts. So we will be seeing you sometime soon. Thank you for your advice and your insight.
You're welcome, Anna. Thank you for having me.
Take care.